ended up at top loser, snapping 4-session losing streak. And I'm joined by Sunil Subramaniam, market expert. Very good evening to you, Mr. Subramaniam. And let's begin by talking about today's trade. Well, in markets, they came down. Do you think it's a healthy pullback? Can we call it that?
Yeah, I would say it's basically profit booking by short-term investors, largely from outside of India, the hedge funds, probably triggered by the US downgrade to the extent that US debt yields will pick up higher. So those who came in, let's say about 3-4 weeks ago, have made a good deal of money. So these hedge funds typically have very short-term outlook, and I think they would have said, okay, it's a good time to book profits. Maybe they can re-enter the Indian market later. So I would say, yes, it's a part of the market natural cycle that short-term investors who make a good return do tend to book profits.
And one of the reasons was, first of all, healthy profits. Second, they are also looking at India-US trade deal. Well, that is something which is going to be not giving any clarity over the next few days. Do you think that will drag markets once again, bring them down once again?
Not at all. I think that there will be actually good news flow coming either officially or unofficially out of the trade talks. Mr. Piyush Goyal himself is there, along with Mr. Rajesh Agarwal, who's the chief negotiator. So I'm sure that these will progress well, and the trade deal news will actually be an uptick for the market rather than, and I don't think it was a reason for profit booking to happen. I don't see any concerns around the trade deal. In fact, I think it's just taking a bit longer because there are lots more issues to be thrashed out in micro detail. Otherwise, I think we have to remember that US and India are on a path to double a total business between the two countries to $500 billion. And I see the trade deal as supporting that. So I don't expect too much negative surprises for India. Yes, there will be sectors which will be winners and losers because you can't win every single sector there. So you'll have to give in some sectors and get something back from that perspective. But the trade deal itself is, I think, a huge positive waiting to happen. And I don't see any investors actually cashing out on a broader market just because of the BTA yet to be announced.
All right, and Mr. Subramaniam, if you can give us a sense of global markets also, what factors do you think they will be working on over the next few days?
So I think that apart from the India-US BTA discussions as it leaks out, the Chinese, to the 90-day pause. So how are things going on the US-China discussion front? Even that there will be some news filtering out. Of course, Mr. Trump will always be on the top of the agenda with what he posts on his Truth Social platform in terms of news and developments. The other thing is, of course, on the Russia-Ukraine part. The first set of talks, though, didn't go well. Mr. Trump has spoken to Mr. Putin, and we'll have to wait and see what those developments, those could impact it. And I think that also the US, I think the rate cut now unlikely in the early month of June. Even September looks a bit on the lower on the probability side. So I think that those are the factors which are internationally going to be an impact on the global markets. But like I said, the 30-year US Treasury, because of the downgrade, has crossed 5%. So I think that the debt is beginning to worry a bit, and generally internationally it's the bond markets which drive the decision making. So I see that, because of which I will see dollar on a slightly weaker trend. So gold should be on a more positive trend because of its contra to the dollar.
And a few positive things that could work. First of all, that overall the war uncertainty is down, but monsoon is also looking like on track. We have seen Karnataka, going through a lot of water trouble, but that's a good sign also that monsoon is there. So do you think these factors will keep up the market momentum going forward?
Yes, definitely. Because I think the last couple of months, we were having good news for as far as the economy is concerned. It started with the budget giving 100,000 crore tax giveaway to the middle class. It came with the GST collections in the month of April, YOY growing 12%. It came with inflation coming at a low of 3.16%, and WPI also came in very low. So all factors supportive for an RBI rate cut. Later during this month, we'll probably see RBI declare a dividend, and rumors are that they are likely to be anywhere between 2.75 to 3.25 lakh crore, which is a huge boost, because as that money goes to the government and then gets spent in the economy, that liquidity is going to be a big boost. The good monsoon, as you mentioned, means that rural demand will also step up. So with the budget giveaways helping urban demand and this for the rural demand. I see the broader consumption baskets, entry-level cars, two-wheelers, and tractors because of the monsoon, all of them getting a good fillip. So I think there's a lot of good news coming in factoring. And one of the biggest drivers for the market is that with the earnings season being fairly over now, most of the guidance has been very pessimistic because of the trade war overhang. But actually, people, the fund managers will begin to realize as they look at the numbers that companies are likely to outperform their own pessimistic guidance. So whenever market earnings come ahead of a consensus estimates, you will see the market take an uptick. So I'm reasonably bullish on the market for the near term, given all of these factors. And like I said, I don't think the BTA is going to get very much delayed. We'll see part one of the BTA happen well before fall, and part two maybe will come around August, September during the fall season. So I think all things are lined up for a fairly good economic, and the GDP numbers for the Q4 should be out in a couple of weeks. And I think sequentially, they should be much better than the last two quarters. So which means the economy is on the mend and on an improving trend. So I don't see too much of any bad news coming up in the local scenario to be a dampener. Profit booking will always be there, which will induce a bit of volatility in the markets.
Well, thank you, Mr. Subramaniam, for joining me this evening and giving the perspective on the stock markets, why they're falling, and what is the outlook ahead.